when the agents of the federal government conduct raids in our nation's cities without due coordination with local authorities, when they detain or harass citizens and lawful residents alike under the guise of immigration enforcement, we are not witnessing the rule of law, we are watching its betrayal. When ICE agents under the orders from Washington sweep through neighborhoods like an occupying force without warrants, without probable cause, and without respect for the local governance, they cease to be defenders of order. This administration's defenders will tell you these are isolated incidents, necessary measures, unfortunate but justified. But that is the oldest song in an oppressor's book of hymnals. When federal agents operate beyond oversight, beyond constitutional limits, it is not security, it is anarchy cloaked in uniform. Chicago is not a battlefield, it's an American city, and its people, whatever their documentation status, are entitled to the protection of the Constitution. The Fourth Amendment does not vanish at the border of policy convenience, nor does federalism cease when Washington grows impatient with local dissent. We cannot allow federal agents and their might to trample local law, nor permit power to masquerade as patriotism. I was along with my colleague, Congressman Krishna Murthy, just down the block from here. We went to visit a federal facility where citizens were being coming in and people of different documentation were reporting in. We had the law enforcement called on us. The law enforcement was confused. They didn't know whether they should protect the federal officials or whether or not they should go against the local enforcement. They were confused. This is creating anarchy. I had the privilege of going into the 2nd Congressional District with my colleague, Congressman Robin Kelly, in a building in foreclosure. Some of the poorest people in the country were met with the most lethal weapons of the United States government. There also was met by a veteran, a U.S. citizen that has served in Desert Storm. He said his PTSD was triggered. It was a night of helicopters and bombs that were going off for tear gas. Our children are smelling tear gas on U.S. cities. We cannot allow the federal government to do this. The targets are no longer undocumented immigrants alone. They are lawful residents. They are veterans. They are U.S. families. The president said he was going after felons. Now he is going after families that are all being swept up in these raids. Chicago is a city that has long embodied the American experiment, diverse, defiant, and determined. It is now treated like an occupied territory. This is not federalism. This is a federal intrusion. Power unbound by principle is not strength. We are witnessing decay. The tragedy of these raids is not only in the fear they sow, but the faith they erode. Faith in government, in justice, in the idea that America still belongs to all of us who lives within its promise. If this is how the federal government acts towards its own, then the true crisis is not at the border, it is in Washington, D.C. For you, Mr. Reitner, I have a question. The Trump administration claims that its aggressive immigration enforcement activities are necessary to protect jobs for American workers. Can you describe how indiscriminate immigration raids and mass deportations ultimately harm, not help American workers?
Yes, thank you, Congressman Jackson, and as a proud resident of the 1st Congressional District.
Which district?
The 1st Congressional District. I've seen this in operation all across all of our communities. This immigration terrorism that Donald Trump is perpetrating is wrecking our economy and is causing disruption to both business and labor. That's why you've seen not only the Chicago Federation of Labor, but also the Chicago Chamber of Commerce stand up against this massive disruption that's hurting workers, it's hurting consumers, it's hurting it's hurting everyone regardless of their citizen status. But I would say also, in saying that our undocumented immigrant workforce has been here holding up and supporting our community for more than a century. And they're as much entitled to participate in our economy in all the things that they do as anything else. And instead of trying to scare people out of this country, we should be looking for a pathway to citizenship for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Reitner. And I'd like to also say thank you, Reverend Black, and I'm sorry for the atrocious behavior that was afforded to a member of the clergy. That is absolutely a new low. Is there anything you'd like to say to Speaker Johnson?
I'd like to invite Speaker Johnson to come to church or perhaps one of our Bible studies where we get deep into the Word of God and have it form our consciences and our feet and our hands and our voices, how we are called to be in these times.
Thank you. I yield back.